Have you ever stopped to think about how some people just seem to flash ahead in life? Take Elon Musk, for instance. What's his secret for his success when others hit dead ends? Now, of course, he put in a lot of effort. There's so many factors involved with him. Now, we all have heard the mantra, work hard and you will make it. But what if it is about having a leg up? That's not entirely fair. What if each of us have our own unique edge that we can tap into to carve out our path to success? A few years ago, I read an incredible book called The Unfair Advantage. It's written by these two entrepreneurs and investors called Ash Ali and Hassan Kuba. So it all boils down to this notion that life isn't exactly playing fair. When we look at people who have made it big, it's not just about putting in the hours. Luck, circumstances, privilege, they all chip in. So here's the equation that struck me while diving into the book. Success, however you define it, it is the mix of playing by the rules and having those sneaky unfair edges. Now, imagine you've got a startup founder who's up at the crack of dawn, pounding the pavement and grinding away on their laptop all day. That's fair, right? We can agree that's fair. We can all get behind that. It's something any of us could do if we put in the effort. So it's absolutely fair. But then let's say this founder's loaded parents drop $500,000 into their company from day one. Now that's a little bit of an unfair advantage. It is a boost that's not exactly available to the rest of us. So the unfair advantage dives deep into this idea that success isn't playing out on a level field. We all have different strengths and weaknesses, sure, but it's also about the circumstances we are dealt. Maybe it's having the right connections, access to funding, or hitting the market at just the right time. As Hassan puts it, unfair advantages aren't just about what we are good at. They're also about the circumstances that give us an edge, something others can't easily replicate. Now, this book isn't just for the elite, it is for everyone, because we've all got our own unfair advantages, no matter who we are or where we are. Now, the real question is, how do we figure out what those advantages are for us? Now, in the book, they talk about the MILES framework. So it stands for money, intelligence and insight, location and luck, education, expertise, and status. I know it's quite a mouthful. Now, here's the thing. Where does mindset fit into all of this? Now, when the writer was busy coming up with the idea, they concluded that mindset is the foundation. It is the backbone of all of it. So without the right mindset, it's like trying to build a house on sand. It just won't hold up. Okay, so let's dive into the M in MILES, which is for money. Let me tell you about Evan Spiegel, the guy who co-founded Snapchat and became the world's youngest self-made billionaire at just 24. So Evan grew up in this super fancy house in Los Angeles. He went to all of these very fancy private schools and had parents who were big shot lawyers. Talk about being born into privilege. Sure, he had to work hard and come up with brilliant ideas, but having all of that money, the status and the connections gave him a massive head start. It's like having a cheat code in the game of life, which we all have, by the way. We'll get there. Secondly, the I represents intelligence and insight. Consider the Collison brothers who co-founded Stripe, a multi-billion-dollar payments processing company, before either had reached the age of 22. 16, Patrick Collison essentially created his own computer programming language and left school a year early to attend MIT. His brother John achieved the highest score ever recorded on the Leaving Certificate, which is Ireland's equivalent of A-levels, and already been accepted into Harvard before completing his exams. So while their success undoubtedly required significant hard work and effort, it's reasonable to argue that the Collison brothers' exceptional intelligence provided them with an unfair advantage. Thirdly, we come to L, representing location and luck. So as Ray Kroc, the visionary behind McDonald's, once famously remarked, the two most important requirements for major success at first. Being in the right place at the right time. And second is doing something about it. The significance of location is evident. For example, businesses often congregate in areas like Silicon Valley, where the right location can open doors to opportunities and foster connections and tap into specific markets. Luck adds an intriguing dimension, and I would argue that it doesn't necessarily confer an unfair advantage, but rather falls into the realm of fair play. So while there are instances of sheer random luck, many times we can proactively create our own luck by exposing ourselves to diverse experiences in a natural and unforced manner. Ash and Hassan also addressed this concept in their book, advocating for taking proactive steps, such as engaging in more activities and networking with a broader range of people and attending various events, and blogging about your startup, creating and sharing content, seeking feedback, and consistently putting forth efforts to contribute to just the world. The underlying idea is that by exposing ourselves to a multitude of opportunities, we increase the likelihood of encountering favorable circumstances, and that is where luck can come from. Essentially, the more we immerse ourselves in these activities, the larger our potential surface area for serendipity becomes, allowing us to recognize and seize opportunities as they arise. Therefore, I view this approach more as a fair advantage rather than an unfair one. Moving forward, the E represents education and expertise. So let's face it, possessing a prestigious degree from a renowned university can often be viewed as an unfair advantage, depending on the context. It is a credential that sets individuals apart in certain fields, making them more intriguing and marketable. Now, according to Ash and Hassan's insights in the book, a quality education offers three main advantages: knowledge acquisition, networking opportunities, and signaling capability. Nowadays, emphasis is placed on more practical skills and real-world experience rather than traditional academic credentials. Our value, our unfair advantage, isn't necessarily derived solely from specific qualifications, although they can contribute. More often nowadays, it stems from our expertise, which is something we can cultivate independently through continuous learning and education. It's not limited to formal education received until a certain age. Rather, it is a lifelong pursuit that we can actively engage in through various means, such as an online class. In fact, I'm soon launching my first course on digital marketing, where I will be sharing everything I've learned about building an online brand and generating income from it over the years. Finally, we arrive at S for status, which indeed can confer an unfair advantage. Elon Musk's current status is so elevated that any new venture he initiates is almost guaranteed to get attention and achieve some level of success regardless of its name. Now, in their book, Ash and Hassan discuss the concept of developing inner status and encompassing qualities like confidence and self-esteem, which can serve us well even if we lack the outward status of individuals like Elon Musk. While I wholeheartedly agree with the importance of nurturing confidence and self-esteem, I find it somewhat artificial to categorize these traits under status. In my view, developing such attributes is more of a fair advantage, as they are attainable by anyone willing to invest the effort rather than being exclusive to certain individuals. Therefore, I perceive this aspect as more aligned with fair advantages rather than unfair ones that are inherently possessed by some individuals. The concept behind the Miles framework is to utilize its categories in identifying our own unfair advantages. However, this framework isn't exclusive to aspiring entrepreneurs or those aiming to start a business. So returning to our hypothetical audience, such as a first-year university student, why is it valuable for them to grasp the notion of unfair advantages? Certainly, in any career pursuit, understanding one's strengths is crucial. There is a principle known as double down on your strengths, where the focus is on enhancing what you are naturally good at rather than trying to compensate for weaknesses, especially in a professional or business context. However, in personal development, it is important to address and improve upon weaknesses, of course. Recognizing your unfair advantages helps in identifying the path of least resistance for your personal and professional growth. To those who claim they don't possess any unfair advantages, I would counter that everyone has them, whether they realize it or not. What may initially appear as a disadvantage can actually be transformed into an advantage. Take, for instance, having limited financial resources, a situation many entrepreneurs find themselves in at the beginning of their journey. Starting off with a tight budget or minimal investment, as I did, promotes creativity. Use what you have and make the best of it. One last example is being situated in an unfavorable location. Consider the contrast between busy cities like New York or London, where high rents and fierce competition for talent can significantly impact your financial runway due to the soaring cost of living. On the other hand, residing in a more remote area where living expenses are lower, similar to the appeal of Southeast Asia or Africa for many, it offers its own set of advantages and disadvantages, illustrating the double-edged nature of location considerations. Now, let's shift gears to discuss a concept from the book related to mindset, specifically the distinction between the growth mindset and fixed mindset, as outlined by Carol Dweck. Research involving a class of 10-year-olds presented with a challenging task revealed a stark difference in their reactions. Some children embraced the challenge with enthusiasm, recognizing it as an opportunity for growth, demonstrating what Dweck terms a growth mindset. Conversely, others viewed the challenge as threatening, interpreting it as a test of their innate intelligence, indicative of a fixed mindset. And that's it for this video. I hope you found value in it, and we'll talk again in the next one.